Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you join me for the first time. My name is Sasha Reed and I have today a bunch of project shares to share with you from Alinacraft or Alinacutle. I've got a few things I've made with a bunch of our products and I also have a little tutorial for you once I've shown you all my tags I've made. I'm going to show you how I used my Arteza watercolors and created one of my cards. So there's quite a few things I wanted to cover and I'm hoping I don't forget anything. I have bits about adhesives and yeah, just too much to think about. Anyways, I have been on a tag kick. I've been wanting to make lots of tags and I'm going to be doing some Christmas tags very soon as well. But I wanted to share with you these tags. So these are my sort of generic tags. And these are all the stack of dies. I basically have been trying to use what I have. So it's quite nice because Alina sends me a Christmas package every month. Basically a Christmas package. So I get to have new goodies every month, which is such a blessing and I'm very grateful. But I've been trying to use what I've got in my office because I've got so much stuff and I bought more when I was in Canada and then I got home and I bought some more and I just thought, oh my goodness, I've got to stop. I've got to use what I have. And I love making tags. They're quick, they're fast, it's like a mini card, and so you can sort of bash them out quite quickly. So I wanted to show you some of the tags I made, and then I'm also going to do the same sort of thing but with Christmas tags, and then I wanted to know your opinion. So I have got this brilliant idea for making really simple, easy tags that look fantastic. For quite cheap, so sort of using what you have, nothing fancy, nothing intricate, and basically not using any dies, just to kind of give you an idea if you don't have a die cutting machine what you can do. I'll probably use some die cuts and sort of give you options for alternatives, but what I need from you is to know whether I should do it or not. I want to do a tutorial video and it won't be long, just kind of showing you and getting you kind of inspired and in the mood for making Christmas tags. But my tutorial videos get such low views that I don't really feel like there's much point in doing them. I want to do them, but they're just really rubbish for getting viewed. So I feel like maybe that's not what you want to see. So if you could give me a comment and let me know if you do want some tutorials, then I will persist and I will make some. But otherwise I just kind of feel like, oh, well, this seems a bit pointless. So for example, one of my last videos has well over 3,000 views, and then one of my last tutorials has got about 100 views. So it just seems pointless to me to do them, but I'd like to do them if there is a desire for them to be done. Anyways, that's enough babbling on. I'm going to show you these tags and what I used to make them with. So I'm just going to move them to the side. Right, so first of all, this is Alina's tag die set, and I bought these. I love them so much. There's my post. It sounds like AliExpress has arrived. I don't know that I've got all the dies here, by the way. I think I do. But basically, I love them so much, I've bought them twice. Now, Alina did not send these to me. She would if I asked her to as part of a design team. But these are what got me into Alinacrafts. This die is just my favorite tag die. And so I've bought it twice because in that way, when I'm making tags, I can run it through twice. Or like 2 in one go and get 2 tags instead of having to crank my big shot. So I think that is basically the full set of dies. And I love the shape of them, and they're quite large. So that's my hand. They're quite big, the biggest one is anyways. And I use them all the time. On all my tags, on all my gifts, I keep going back to these ones. So they're one of my favorite go-to tags. Tag dies, I should say, and they're from Alina's shop. I don't have the packaging because I've used them so much. I think I have just destroyed the packaging, so I've just got them in this little envelope. So the first tags I made was this one. Now I'm going to zoom in actually because you won't be able to see. It's really sunny and beautiful here today. Right, so this tag, I had a stamp set. Remember the stamps I showed you that I bought in my big haul when I got home? There was a bird set and it said Happy Bird Day. I thought that was really awesome and it went well with this die. Now, stupid me glued it all down and forgot to put the birds in. So it would look much better if I'd put some birds behind there, but never mind. I've got this punch here in my stash I punched that out. And then I also used This is all 3 of them in one package. So these are all of Alina's like little label dies. I love them, and you can get 3 different kinds. So I've just shoved them all into one pack. And basically what I've done, if I can figure out where I put my little box, because I'm sure I brought them in. And I didn't bring them in. So I basically cut out a whole ton of them. I just took them all, and I think you can fit like 2.5 packs of them on one Big Shot platform. If you use your extended platform, you can fit them all on easily. And just used my scraps, because I had so many scraps that were kind of like this wide or that wide, and I just ran them through, and I must have made about like 100, 200 of these strips. And then on here, I used a couple here. I trimmed off one of the ends, so there is a bit shorter, and then I've got 2 poking out behind there. So I just find they're really useful as a bit of an embellishment, as well as for stamping your sentiment on. So this is decorative paper, which is why it kind of looks like the bird day is in the kind of funky spot, like I messed my ink up, but it's actually just a pattern on the paper. That's one of the jewels from Alina's shop. Give me a shout at the end of the video in my comments if I have missed anything that I'm showing you, because I use so many products. I just went through my office and was like, and this will do, and this will do, and I'll use this, thank you very much. There's some more jewels from her shop. And I just used some of this Nuvo glue. So I'm gonna get distracted now. When I was in Canada, I bought the Gina K Connect glue. And I bought this at a craft show before I left for Canada. And you can see the size difference. There's significantly more in this one than this one. I'm trying to think. 5 ounces, and this one has 2 ounces. Or sorry, 0.5 ounces and 2 ounces. So you get 4 times the amount in this one. I can't find any difference between these two, other than this is about half the price. The Nuvo glue is about half the price of the Gina K. The tip is much better on the Nuvo one. So I tried using the Gina K one, and it just drove me a bit batty. It just seemed like the glue was coming out too quickly. And the Nuvo glue tip is much smaller. So for all you people who've been seeing people like Jennifer McGuire using the Gina K Connect glue, I can say that I'm not overly like excited about it. It's not this amazing be all end all glue. It's tiny. It's ridiculously expensive, and this I find the same as Tombow glue, like you know the Tombow mono glue, same as that, but it doesn't have the tacky residue afterwards. You know, it's that waxy kind of tacky weirdness. This doesn't. This just rubs straight off, and I find it sticks really nicely and works really well. Now, I don't know what the lifespan of this is. I know my Tombow ones that I've glued down, you know, a couple of years ago, they're still great cards. They've not fallen apart. I don't know if this is going to fall apart or not, because I've only had it for a couple months, but I love it and I'm really impressed with it. This was about £3.50 at the craft fair that I was at, and I think it's about like £4 or £5 in the normal shop. This was $10, nearly $10 in Canada, and I've seen it here for about £5.50. So this is much better value than this. Just as a side note. Right, carrying on. So then I did this one here. And this again is just using up my stash. I had some punches. I got these like sort of scalloped circles, and I did another scallop circle. And then I found this stamp from my Stampin' Up! Collection. I used a grey ink on some pearl card, so it's kind of got this shine to it, which is really fun. And then I punched it out using a circle die that was just smaller than the stamp, so that it covered the whole background. And then this is Alina's ribbon and Alina's ribbon. Yeah, they're both the same. I thought it was Tulle for a second. So these are from Alina's shop. This ribbon, I love it. I love using it on things. Again, there's those strips from these dies over here. And then I popped everything up, and then I've used a little diamante thingy there. Then I've got, this one was quite fun. That's that lolly set that she had come out. This is Alina's Tulle from her shop. Almost everything I've used, I've tried to use from Alina's shop, just to kind of show off things. This is from AliExpress, not Alina's shop. That little set, where did I put it? Here it is. It's this set here with, it's got like the cup, this lolly and the star. So I used that lolly on there, and then I mounted it onto my scallop circle, there we go. So I did the same as I did with these, and I just went through with my punches and punched a whole ton of scraps. And then I just kind of had all my scraps sitting on the table, and I just started bunging them together. And I did the same with my dies. I grabbed all my dies that I hadn't used in a while or that were new. I went through all my scraps, cut loads of stuff out, and then I just started putting it all together and assembling my tags, so that some of those are a little bit popped up there. Oh, and I'll tell you about the adhesive. I'll pause again to tell you about adhesive. So Alina has got new stuff in her shop. She's got these foam squares, and they are amazing. They're like her tape. They're really uber duper sticky. So you got a square, like a medium-sized square, and then you get the really small squares, like that. And they are like so sticky, like super, super tacky and sticky. So I love those. I've used quite a few, you can see. I've been using these on all my projects as well. Alina brought these for me when she came to visit me the other week. So I've got those, and they come, I'm assuming they come like this in a pack of 2, where you get the big ones and the small ones. Well worth your money. They are just like her foam tape, which I'm running really low on. So that's the 5mm, yes, I think so, and 10mm. And they are excellent. If you ever watch Natasha Foote, she rants and raves about this stuff, and I'm not kidding you, it's so good. She's also now got glue dots. Now, these glue dots, I've bought several from AliExpress, and I meant to bring some in, but I forgot. The AliExpress ones are kind of like the size of my nail. They're quite big. Alina's ones are perfect. They're not micro dots, but they're nice and small, so they tuck right behind everything. So when I stuck down this bow on this little tag, I stuck it down using one of the glue dots. They're really, really good size, and they're very sticky, and you get quite a lot as well. Like the reel is quite big, and I'm going to assume you get 2 in a package, because that's how she gave them to me. Now, the other thing that Alina's got is adhesive sheets. I'm going to have to zoom out for this, aren't I? So she's now got adhesive sheets. I think you get them in a pack of 10. It feels like copy paper on each side. It's just like bog standard copy paper, but it is, I haven't played with them yet. I meant to do this before I filmed for you, and I completely forgot. So you get it, and it's, see if I can stick it to my finger. Oh, stick to my finger so I can show everybody. I don't think it's going to do it because I've just stuck it to itself now. Anyways, it's sticky adhesive sheets. Let me see if I can find something I can stick it to. Oh, I'll regret this later. Right, stick that on there just so I can show you and get it off. Come on. There we go. So can you see it's like a whole sticky sheet, and it feels quite tacky. So the idea, I think, is just using this for die cuts. So putting it on the back of your card, running your die through your machine, and then you've got a sticky back die cut. So I'm gonna get that. Oh, nice and easy. There we go. So she's got sticky sheets. They are A4 size. They're really big. UK A4 size, I believe. And there's 10 in my pack, so I would assume you get 10 in your pack. I'm not sure, but they smell funky, but they look like they're going to work really well. You know how sometimes adhesive stuff just stinks? That kind of has a strong smell to it. Okay, moving on with tags. I'm going to try and get through these quickly because I don't want to give you such a long video again. Oh, zooming in. So then there's this one, and I did thank you so much. And then this is just washi tape, metallic washi tape, and I kind of felt like it needed a bit of jazzing up, so I stuck that on there. Some jewels. These butterflies are from AliExpress. They're on felt. I've shown them in a different video. And then some spriggy stuff. Here's all the spriggy stuff I used. Foliage, whatever you want to call it. I used up all of these from Alina's shop. And they just kind of added a nice bit of texture to the background of my embellishments. I'm getting confused now with what I've shown you. No, I haven't. I did some ones with the dresses. So there's a set of 3, and they're really cute and they work really nice. I kept them all together so that I could just run them through. And again, I just got my scraps, and I just ran them through with my scraps and just did a whole bunch of them in one go. And I found ones with foil paper, and then I did some with just pattern paper. And then again, I stuck some jewels on some of the foliage. These are all Alina's shop. Some tulle. Oh, and that's that hole punch I bought in Canada. It's the reinforcement hole punch, which was quite fun. And again, I've used some of the banner dies. And this stuff here, this metallic thread, I've got all from AliExpress. Massive, massive reels of it. This one I'm not sure about my little jazzing up with my washi tape, but I felt like it needed something else because that dress was just kind of fading into the background. But never mind. And then there's this one, which I really love. I'm getting a bit too close, aren't I? So I just punched out of this really beautiful paper that I had scrap. I just punched it out using my scallop circle, and it really worked well with the flower. And then I stuck one of these little jewels on from AliExpress. Used some of Alina's ribbon. I've been buying lots of this ribbon. The more I use it, the more I really like it. It just adds lots of character. And then this is metallic black and metallic pink thread that I've just kind of stuck on the back. Okay, I think that's all my tags. I don't know, did I show you that one? I have no idea. I used some of that spiky foliage and some jewels. I don't think I did show you that one. It was hiding. Okay, now moving on to cards. So, Alina also has, oh, she's got vellum in her shop, just so you know. But she's got this, what is it called? Acetate. There we go. She's got two sizes, 6x6, and then this, I think, like A5 size. And it's really thin acetate. It's not, it's very, very, very thin acetate. Probably the thinnest I've ever found. Kind of almost like packaging acetate, like that you'd get on your food products, or if you bought a doll or something, it would have some thin acetate. But it works a treat. You don't need any thicker when you're doing shaker cards. All you want is that it's see-through and that it holds your stuff in. And it's really, really clear. There's no scratches, there's no scuffs, it's not discolored. It's really nice quality acetate. It's very thin, but you don't need it thick anyways. But you can see it's really good quality acetate, really clear. Some acetate that you buy can kind of come a bit foggy. So that stuff's, Alina stuff seems to be quite good. So I used this new die set from her shop. Maybe it's not new. I can't remember what was old release and what was new. But it's got kind of this book sort of edge paper, a Polaroid, a camera, some bubbles, the word smile. I think there might have been something else. Wait, I have 6. Now who's right number? How many are in there so I don't forget? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've lost something. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. A smaller set of bubbles, I think, under there. So I made this shaker card. So I used her acetate, and then these are all from her shop. You've got the little jewels and then the flowers. And then the camera, I made my own little mini shaker of the camera, and Alina now has these jewels in her shop. Not jewels, they're little, I think they're called sea beads or something. She now has several colors of these in her shop as well. Oh look, there's static on my finger. So I made a little shaker inside the little camera, which I was pretty proud of myself for. And then Smile, which I popped up on some foam. And I just kind of put it on the front of a card, and then I used that same washi tape, the metallic washi tape, and kind of added some interest on the inside. So that's my little shaker card. I was pretty pleased with that. Right, now I'm going to get into the technique stuff. I will show you my cards first, and then I'll show you how I made them. So the first die that I'm going to show you with these is hiding on me. Here it is. So I'm going to zoom out a bit because it'll probably be easier for you to see. So I use this die. It comes as a set of 2. You've got this beautiful flower, and then you've got sort of a border that goes around it. So when you cut it out, it looks like that. It's really pretty, really thin, really delicate and detailed. I really like it. And it cuts beautifully as well. I had no issues with it. So what I did was I got my Arteza colors out. So before I left for Canada, Arteza sent me another package. And I asked them for some watercolor markers. So I got these watercolor base markers, so you can see them there. I've taken several out because I've been playing with them a lot. So they come on these little trays. and they're just watercolors but in marker form. They're brush tip watercolor markers, I should say. So here's my little baggie I've been using. So when you pull it out, it's got just a brush on it. Now the brush tip I thought was going to be like a pen, but it's actually like a brush. Like if you push on it, it's like bristles, like a paintbrush, which I wasn't expecting. But then again, I don't know anything about art. So these are my latest little toy to play with from Arteza, and I've been having a lot of fun with them and teaching myself how to use them. I also got some glitter from them. Some glitter. 54 jars of glitter. And I took some to Canada and then I forgot them there. So I've got some missing ones because they're in Canada, but I've got 54 jars of various kinds of glitter, including one that glows in the dark, apparently. There is a glow-in-the-dark glitter. But I haven't played with those too much yet, but I plan to use them on some of Alina's wooden embellishments to do some mixed media. And then what I also used for some of my projects was Arteza's watercolor cardstock. I'd say it's watercolor paper, but it's definitely card. And what I did was I did a little color swatch chart for my markers. So those are all the colors of the markers that I got. And then I did some blending with the markers, which was really actually quite fun. I just tried to pick like 2 random colors that, I'll try and get it up to the camera. And then I kind of just blended them together, which was really fun. So yeah, I used this watercolor stuff for my card. And I made this card. So I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. You can see I've embossed it, and I've used Alina's die in the background here. And I've popped it all up on several layers. So what I did was I die cut this one out of thick cardstock 3 times. And then I glued it together. And the easiest way I found to glue it was to use a sponge and some liquid adhesive and just dab it on the back. So I just kind of turned it over, used my sponge and dabbed it all on the back. And then it was quite easy to line up because you've got this nice straight edge. So I just kind of made sure all the edges were straight and then everything else just kind of came into place. So I did 3 layers of that so that you've got that kind of dimension. It's kind of popped off the card. Then the butterfly, I used this Tim Holtz stamp and die. And so the butterfly I stamped out in black embossing powder, and then I used my watercolor pens, brush pens, and I just kind of blended them together. I decided on my background color first, and then that's what I decided to use for my butterfly. Then it's got this little die cut for its middle bit there, so I layered it 3 times and popped it up off the top, so it's kind of sticking up like it's a 3-dimensional butterfly. And then this Let's Celebrate came from this set here from Sizzix by this guy David Tutera, I guess. But I liked the sentiment, and then I liked that it had a die cut to cut it out with as well. So how I stuck it down was that I stuck some foam just in the middle of the butterfly and some foam just on the top there, and then the rest I used liquid adhesive because it was going to rest on my border, which is already popped up, and then I kind of stuck it a heavy block on top of it, like a acrylic block, stamping block. So that's how I got it to kind of stick, and then that's kind of black glossed in glitter embossing powder. And then I left the middle blank. I was debating what to do, and then I decided no, I'm going to leave it blank. Now how I did the background was I wanted there to be color where the flowers were, and I wanted it to alternate between the 2 colors. So I tried a few different things. I took my stencil and I kind of traced around it so I could know where it was, but then I found I couldn't erase the pencil marks after, and it was really faffy. And then I had this genius idea that I could just take the middle that comes out, and I stuck some like removable adhesive on the back. And all I did was I took a bit of cardstock. This is the outline die, so the one that comes in the pack with the with the thing. It's this one here. I just used that to cut my background. This is the Arteza watercolor cardstock. So I stuck that down in the middle, and then basically what I did, let me see, was I took my pens and I just kind of colored like this. And then I took my Arteza, left it up here, my Arteza doodad, one of these guys, and I basically just dragged the color. This is not watercolor paper, so it does not work. And like you can see, I've put it down, it's going nowhere. This watercolor card, I put it down, and it was just whoosh, straight over, it just moved instantly. So basically I just kind of pulled it from the edge in on all of them, and then I kind of just brushed through the middle and then left it to dry, and that's kind of how I got that background pattern. So using the middle as like a guide really helped, and then I could easily put this stencil over the top, or not the stencil, the die cut over the top, and then you can see that I've kind of got those colors under those flowers. So I used a blue and a teal basically for the background, and I used the same colors on the butterfly. So that's how I did that background. Arteza also sent me the watercolor brush pens, so that's what I've been using, and they've been really fun to play with. And you kind of have like this size, fatty, I don't know what they're called, and then you've got this one as well, which is even bigger, and they're really nice for doing these backgrounds. Now for the next card I'm going to show you, I used obviously the one with water in it. This sort of fine tip one is what I used on the next one. So I'm going to show you how I did my next one in a proper tutorial. So that's that card. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Now my next card has been totally inspired by Jessica Lourenco, I think. I will link her Facebook down below, or I will link her YouTube down below. She's brand new on YouTube, but she's been crafting forever. These are the pictures that inspired me. So these are the cards she made, and they are on her Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, but I'll link it below. She's absolutely amazing. She is so talented, and I've been following her for quite a while. So I made this card using her kind of idea and inspiration. This die is from Alina's shop, and it's this one here. I didn't use the outside, I did cut it, but I didn't use it, and that's the intricate inside one. And again, on this one I layered it twice, the background one, and I popped up the background die, which is just an AliExpress rectangle, and I popped it up using some fun foam. And then the flowers are the stamps that I had been showing you, or I showed you a little while ago. When I got home, I ordered some of these stamps, and so I got that set and this set and another set, but I don't know that I brought that set in. But I used these flowers and just stamped them in black embossing powder, and then I used my watercolor brush tip pens to do the flowers. So those are the stamp sets that I used, and then I also, for the sentiment Get Well Soon, came from this new stamp set from Alina. I'll put it down so you can see it a bit. And then I used that small little twig on the inside, and I also layered it as well with that same AliExpress die. So that is that card, and I love how it turned out. I think it's really pretty, and I'm going to show you how I colored those really quickly. I won't color the whole entire image, but I'll show you what I did. So there's my image, and I'll zoom in. So what I did was I picked two colors that were really similar. So I've got the dark purple and the light purple, which kind of look blue in this light. They are eggplant purple and wisteria purple, and they're the Arteza pens. So what I did first was I just kind of did the outside edge. So we'll see how we go. I'm not so good at the coloring. Now, obviously doing this on watercolor paper would be ideal. Again, this is not watercolor paper, but I also did not use watercolor paper on that one. That's just normal. So I did the edge. I mean, you can do it however you like. I have no skills in coloring, but I kind of wanted them to be defined from each other because you've got two petals close to each other. So if I do the edges in dark, then it's a bit easier. And then now, because this is not watercolor paper, I can't blend those lines very easily. but I'm not overly bothered because I'm basically going to use my water pen to lift it. So if I did this on watercolor paper, you would see it blend really well. I've got a bit of watercolor paper here that I forgot. That was my pencil one that I was going to show you from the other card. If you do it, this is the back of watercolor paper, so maybe it's not going to work. So if you do the purple, you can see the water, like the color's already resting on the top. And then you can blend it into this one. And you can see the color just kind of moves a lot more. There's a lot more to play with. It doesn't just suck straight into the paper. And then you can take your brush and you can drag that color even more, and it just kind of does it really smoothly. So it's really, really nice if you use watercolor paper. But what I did for this was I just squeeze out, it's got this little button here to push, which is, oops, I'm not showing you. You can push this little button and it kind of comes out, which is fun. So I've got this rag. It's basically a kind of muslin type thing from when I had babies. And all I did was I just ran it on and then dabbed off the color a bit. So you can start to see it kind of blending a bit. Now if I had some watercolor paper, it'd be even better. But you can see how it's getting a bit lighter the more water I use. And then I'm just soaking it up with my little cloth. And that's kind of how I made the lighter layers. So it kind of, don't know if you can see the difference. It's looking really blue in my camera. So it looks terrible because I'm not very good at this type of thing, and this is a really big flower and it seemed to look a little bit better on my smaller ones. But you can keep doing that and sort of removing some of the color. And then if you use the watercolor paper, you'd be able to blend that even more. And I'm sure if I did it with the watercolor paper, I could remove even more color. A lot better, a lot easier. Let's get some more water on there. So you can see how well that works. And so that's kind of how I did my layering of my coloring, and then kind of gave it that lightened aspect as well. And I did the same on the leaves. So this coloring for my novel, inexperienced coloring took me probably about 15-20 minutes to color this whole flower. So you'd probably be quicker if you were a bit better than I am. But I really love how it looks, and I think it was well worth all the coloring. But that's how I did all the coloring. Arteza have sent me a link in the past couple of days, so you can get 10% off via my, not a link, a code. So there'll be a code down below as well. So if you want to order any of the Arteza products, then you can get 10% off, I believe. But to be honest, if you watch for any sales, they often do 15% off. So I don't know why they send me 10%, because there's no motivation to use my code when you could get sort of 15% off. But anyways, it doesn't matter. There are affiliate links down below as well. So there's links for all the products I've used from Arteza, and they are affiliate links. So I do get paid a small percentage of whatever you purchase if you use my links, and it's totally up to you. I'm not bothered. It doesn't cost you anything more. It doesn't affect you whatsoever. I just make a small commission if you buy them via my links, but I'm not bothered. Please don't feel that that's a sales pitch. They're there if you want them and if you want to use them, but it's totally up to you. I'm really happy with these brush pens. The only thing I'm not happy about is the fact that they're like a paintbrush. But that's just because I didn't read the packaging and I didn't read the description. So I thought they would be a lot more solid, and I thought I could color the back of my stamps with them and then stamp on them. But it dries instantly, and it's like a brush rather than an actual pen. That's my only downside, but that's just because I didn't read what they were. But I'm really having fun with them, and doing things like this is really cool to me. And doing my background, like, so all I did for my edges, let's say, you know, if you want to zoom out a bit, hey, oh my goodness, I'm doing the hay like I'm in Canada still. So I just kind of colored like that, like there, and then all I did was took my fat brush, my big boy, gave it a little squeeze to get it nice and juicy, and then I just kind of pulled the water forward like that. Now this is the wrong side of the watercolor paper, so it's not pulling as nicely, and those were quite dark pigmented colors. but then I just kind of pulled them forward, and that's kind of how I did it. And you can still activate it even after it's dried, which is quite fun. So yeah, so I've been playing with these. So you'll probably see me doing lots of stuff with this stuff because I've got it and I want to use it. And it's been really fun. So anyways, that's the end of my video, I think. Goodness me. I knew it was going to be a long one because I did so many different things, but I wanted to show you how I did these so that you didn't walk away going, oh, I want to do that, and then make your card and go, I don't have a clue how she did that. So that's how I did those bright colored things. And then this is obviously no stamping, no coloring, all die cutting and some sparkly jewels. And then my set of tags. And then if you keep your eye on my channel, I'm going to hopefully have my Christmas ones done next week when the kids are back in school again. And I will show you some Christmas tags using up all my dies and stuff. But the best thing about doing tags is just die cut everything. Die cut all your scraps. Just make a pile of each shape. And then go and build them and assemble them. And you'll have lots of fun. And get all your stamps out as well. Like, so I got, the best thing for me was using those edge die, these things, whatever they're called, sentiment dies, and just die cut a whole bunch of those. Then I went through all my stash and found all the stamps that kind of would fit in a long strip. And I got all those ready, and then I just started stamping and sticking, and it was really fun. And it was sort of like an afternoon hanging out with myself. So I hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want a tutorial for some quick, simple, easy Christmas tags or not. And yeah, thank you for joining me, and happy crafting. Bye for now.